isn't real, this can't be real. No, no, please, please, oh my God, please let me go, I'm sorry, I am sorry, please let me go. Oh God, what is this? Get it out of me. Leo Martinez's mind was silent. Frantic scream lost in cacophony of his own ragged breaths. But the voice that clawed its way out his throat wasn't his own. It was something older, something colder, something that had been waiting a very long time to speak. His lungs burned, each inhale a searing agony, as if he were swallowing embers. His face was slick with sweat and tears, his eyes wide with a terror so profound it eclipsed all rational thought. He could feel it, an unseen presence right behind him. So close he could feel the chill leaching the warmth from his back, a void that sucked the very life from the air. His left arm was no longer just in pain. It was a foreign entity, a colony of fire ants under his skin. The birthmark, a simple, coffee-colored oval he'd had since birth, was now a furious, pulsating red. From its center, a network of thin, black lines, like venomous roots, were spreading rapidly beneath his skin, a dark map of his impending doom. A guttural cry of pure agony tore from his throat. Arg, what is this? Get it out of me. He ran blindly, his feet tripping over exposed roots, until he skidded to a halt, his heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. He felt again that horrifying disconnect. His own mouth was moving, forming words, but the voice that resonated in the clearing was not his. It was a dry, sibilant whisper, like dead leaves skittering across ancient stone. You cannot run. Leo, this forest has roots in your songs. It is your own blood that draws you back. How had it come to this? The answer lay 12 hours earlier, in the warm, safe glow of a Seattle apartment. 12 hours earlier. What's up, Specters? Leo here, back with another exclusive deep dive into the forgotten and the forsaken. Leo flashed his signature million-watt smile at the Sony A7S IV mounted on his tripod. His apartment was sleek, modern, a testament to the success of his YouTube channel, Urban Specter. With over 2 million subscribers, Leo was a titan in the urban exploration community. He was charismatic, fearless, and with a sculpted jawline that looked just as good exploring a decaying asylum as it did reviewing the latest tech. But Leo had a secret. He didn't believe in any of it. Ghosts, curses, spirits. It was all just smoke and mirrors, campfire stories of the gullible. His mission, as he saw it, was to debunk the myths, to shine the bright light of reason into the dark corners of superstition. And his fans ate it up. They loved the thrill, the what if, but they loved his confident, dismissive wrap-ups even more. Tonight, he was scrolling through a notoriously dark corner of Reddit dedicated to Pacific Northwest paranormal lore. He was hunting for his next big location, something that would really get his patrons on Patreon talking. That's when he found it, a thread about Blackwood Creek, a defunct logging camp in the heart of the Olympic Peninsula, where legend claimed an entire settlement had vanished overnight in the late 1800s. Most of the posts were short, frantic warnings. Don't go there. The forest remembers. It takes. My great-grandfather was a logger. Said they found the camp empty. Tools dropped, meals half-eaten. But no bodies. Said the woods went silent. It's not a place. It's a hunger. One comment, however, caught his eye. It was from a user named Silent Watcher. The one who bears the mark of the firstborn son is the key. The creek waits for its blood. Go there, Leo. Your fans are waiting. A shiver, cold and unwelcome, traced a path down his spine. How did this user know his name? Or that he was a firstborn son? He shook it off, a calculated flicker of unease that he knew would translate perfectly on camera. He clicked on the user's profile. It was empty, just the one comment. Perfect, he muttered, a predatory grin spreading across his face. This was gold. He positioned himself in front of the camera again, his expression a masterful blend of concern and bravado. All right, team. A lot of you have been sending me this, asking about the so-called Blackwood Creek curse. And look at these comments. Don't go. It's a hunger. Come on, people. It's 2024. The only thing hungry in that forest is probably a Sasquatch looking for a snack. He laughed, a sound designed to put his audience at ease while simultaneously stoking their fear. So, I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to take a camera, a flashlight, and a healthy dose of skepticism, and I'm going to debunk this legend once and for all. Blackwood Creek doesn't stand a chance. Let's roll. He deleted the few genuinely concerned comments, labeling them haters gonna hate. His arrogance was a shield, and it was one of his most popular on-screen traits. The drive to the peninsula was uneventful at first, but as he left the highway and onto the winding logging roads, a change began. A thick, unnatural fog rolled in, clinging to the ground and swallowing the towering Douglas firs. His high beams barely penetrated the milky gloom. The GPS on his dashboard began to glitch, the arrow spinning wildly before the screen went black. Great, he sighed, filming himself with his phone. Classic horror movie setup, right? But don't worry, Specters. I've got a backup compass. I'm not that easily spooked. That's when he saw him. A man was standing by the side of the road, just at the edge of the fog. He was old, dressed in clothes that seemed a century out of date, dusty trousers and a thick flannel shirt. He wasn't hitchhiking. He was just standing there, perfectly still, his face turned toward Leo's Jeep. There was something profoundly wrong with his face. It was too pale, too still, his eyes like dark, vacant holes in the gloom. Leo's foot hovered over the brake. A primal instinct screamed at him to stop, to help. But his modern cynicism won out. Probably just some local hermit, he muttered to the camera, accelerating past. But the image of the man's vacant stare seared itself into his memory. A tiny seed of doubt planted in the fertile ground of his subconscious. The moment he parked his Jeep at the unmarked trailhead and stepped out, the world changed. The silence was the first thing he noticed. It wasn't peaceful. It was a heavy, oppressive silence, a vacuum where there should have been the chirping of birds, the buzz of insects, the rustle of squirrels. It was as if the entire forest was holding its breath. Wow! He whispered to his camera, his voice sounding unnaturally loud. You could really hear a pin drop out here. It's serene. But as he walked deeper, the serene silence began to feel less like peace and more like anticipation. The air grew colder, carrying the faint, sickly sweet smell of decay. The trees, draped in Spanish moss, looked like shrouded figures waiting in the gloom. Suddenly, his boot kicked something on the path. He aimed his flashlight down. His blood ran cold. It was a small, plastic rectangle, a SanDisk Extreme Pro memory card, the exact same model he used in his main camera. A card he knew, with absolute certainty, was still in the camera back in his apartment. He picked it up. It was slick with thin film of moisture and caked with fresh-looking mud, as if it had just been dug up. For the first time that day, a sliver of genuine, unadulterated fear pierced his bravado. This wasn't a local's prank. This was something else. He pushed on, his earlier confidence now a fragile shell. He was about to call it a day, to chalk it up to a weird experience, when he heard it, a faint rhythmic sound. Scrape, scrape, scrape. It wasn't an animal. It was a sound of stone grinding against stone. Slow, deliberate. He froze, swinging his torch beam in a wide arc, illuminating nothing but twisted trees and deep shadows. "Hello," he called out, his voice a little too high. "Is someone there?" The scraping stopped. The silence that followed was even more terrifying. Finally, he broke through the dense tree line into a small clearing. Before him lay a forgotten, neglected cemetery. Gravestones, slick with moss and tilted at drunken angles, poked from the ground like broken teeth. The air here was frigid, and the ground beneath his feet was soft and spongy, as if the earth itself were rotting. His light fell upon one grave that stood apart from the others. It was larger, a massive, flat-topped tombstone made of a dark, unidentifiable stone. It was covered in crude, disturbing carvings. They depicted a group of terrified, gaunt figures desperately trying to bury a writhing, amorphous shadow beneath the stone. Their faces were frozen in silent screams. "Now that's some gothic art," he said, trying to recover his vlogger persona, but his voice trembled slightly. He reached out a hand to touch the carving, to prove to himself that it was just solid, unremarkable rock. The moment his fingers brushed the cold surface, a gust of wind, sharp as an icicle, tore through the clearing. But it was more than just wind. He felt it, a touch, impossibly cold and dry, like a mummified finger, tracing a line down the back of his neck. He yelped, snatching his hand back and spinning around. Nothing. There was no one there. But in his left ear, so close it felt like a physical presence, a voice rasped his name. "No." It wasn't a shout. It was a sibilant, intimate whisper that coiled through his mind like a snake. The ground seemed to tilt beneath him. His arrogance, his skepticism, his entire worldview shattered in that single, terrifying moment. "Who's there?" he screamed, his voice cracking with panic. "I can hear you. Show yourself." There was no answer, but he could feel them now. Dozens of eyes, watching him from the impenetrable darkness at the edge of the clearing. A primal, overwhelming terror seized him, and he ran. He plunged back into the forest, but it was no longer the forest he had entered. The path was gone. The trees seemed to shift and writhe, their positions changing, deliberately hurting him, corralling him. "This is impossible. This can't be happening," he panted, his heart a jackhammer against his ribs. He burst through a wall of thorns and suddenly found himself teetering on the edge of a deep, rocky ravine. He flailed, his flashlight flying from his grasp and tumbling into the blackness below, its light extinguishing with a final, pathetic flicker. He was plunged into absolute, suffocating darkness. And then the whispers started, not from one place, but from all around him, a chorus of disembodied voices. They were no longer just whispers. They were taunts, laced with a cruel, mocking intelligence. Your mind is playing tricks on you, Leo, or is it telling you the truth for the first time? You thought you knew everything, but you know nothing. The voices shifted, morphing into familiar, beloved tones of his mother, then his ex-girlfriend, Jessica. They dredged up his deepest insecurities, his failures, his crushing loneliness. It was a symphony of psychological torture, designed to break him from the inside out. That's when the pain in his arm became unbearable. He looked down in the faint ambient light and cried out. The black veins of his birthmark had now spread across his entire arm and chest, pulsing the malevolent, dark light. He screamed, a raw, agonized sound of pure despair. And then the world dissolved. His mind was flooded with a torrent of images, of memories that were not his own. He saw haggard, terrified loggers in coarse woolen clothing, their faces illuminated by flickering lantern light. They were chanting in a strange mix of English and something older, performing a ritual. He saw them struggling, their muscles straining as they forced a writhing, formless entity of pure shadow and malice into the stone tomb. He felt the entity's rage, its ancient, bottomless hunger, its agony of being trapped for centuries. He understood. The cemetery wasn't gone. He was back in it, but it was new. The air was clean, the stone freshly carved. And the tomb was open. A wave of absolute, primordial terror washed over him as a shape began to rise from the stone. It was not a solid form, but a living shadow, a tear in the fabric of reality. A hole of pure nothingness that radiated a cold so profound it burned. It turned its face toward him and surged forward. He tried to scream, but his voice was stolen from his throat. The shadow hit him not like a physical blow, but like an infection, a flood of icy darkness that poured into every pore, every cell of his being. For a moment, there was only oblivion. Then, slowly Leo stood up, but it wasn't Leo. His movements were fluid, deliberate, predatory. His eyes, once a warm brown, were now pools of absolute blackness, and a grotesque, triumphant smile twisted his handsome features. A voice spoke, but it was not Leo's. It was a chorus of ancient, resonant voices speaking in unison from his throat. Centuries, a century imprisoned in this stone. Your ancestors put me here. Your blood held the seal. It raised its hand, the hand that was Leo's, and touched the birthmark, which now glowed with a faint, evil luminescence. Your curiosity brought you here. Your arrogance chose you to be my vessel. You thought this was a story, but you, Leo, were the final page. You were not the explorer. You were the key. You were the new stone. It smiled, a slow, chilling expression, and looked directly into the lens of Leo's fallen camera, which had landed on its side, its red recording light still blinking. It understood. It had accessed Leo's mind, his memories, his world. And now, I am free. It took a step forward, the smile widening. And this world will be my new tomb. But here was the most terrifying twist of all. The entity spoke again, its voice shifting, morphing until it was an exact, perfect replica of Leo's. charismatic, energetic, and utterly captivating. And you all, my dear, wonderful Specters, you're the first to witness the new show. I promised you I would conquer fear, didn't I? Now, I'm going to deliver it. It bent down and picked up the camera, its black eyes staring into the lens. A dark, smoky energy began to waft from it, coiling in the air around it. You gave me a stage, a global audience of millions, hungry for entertainment. You thought you were watching a show, but now you're a part of the show. It pointed the camera at itself, framing the shot perfectly. With its thumb, it depresses a record button again, ensuring the capture is clean. The red light glows like a malevolent eye. This is not the final episode of Urban Spectre. This is the first episode of the end of the world. And now, the broadcast begins. The camera zooms in slowly on the grotesque smile, on the endless blackness of its eyes. The screen cuts to black. But the final sound is not the ancient evil's laughter. It's Leo's voice, warm and reassuring, delivering one last, soul-shattering promise that will echo in the minds of millions as they watch the video go viral. Don't be scared. I'll be seeing you all very soon. Thank you for watching our story. If you like our story, hit the like button, share your feedback in the comment share video, and subscribe our channel to get latest stories like that. Thank you.